Welcome back to the class. I'm so excited for you because this is a very important step in the design process, but most importantly, the UX design process. So you've been working in this case study for quite some time. Hopefully you went through all the steps. If you didn't, please come back to that section and work on all of the steps because everything is built on each other. This course is all about doing. We're not going to just I'm not teaching you the way to do it and then you will do it by yourself. I want you to do it as you go and learning as you go. So you've done the research, you put together a persona, hopefully. You worked on your storyboard. You developed some sort of storyboard concept about your solution. And now it's time to work on a step that's called wireframing. And wireframing is just a way to conceptualize your solution further, to bring it to life, to flesh out some of the details. And that's a very important step that precedes the higher fidelity design. Remember, we talked about low fidelity, so that wireframing is a cheap way to work on a solution. If you want to discard it, you can just throw it out. So you're not spending too much time in it. Same for, actually not same for the higher fidelity. Higher fidelity, you spend more time, you're actually designing the UI and you're fleshing out the details and maybe you're working on a prototype for it. So let's dive into wireframing. I have a little slide deck here. Center view and okay. All right, so let's dive into this part. Okay, so there are two ways to wireframe. There is paper wireframing and there is digital wireframing. So paper wireframing means that you just use pen and paper. It's a very common way of doing this, usually the cheapest and the easiest, especially if you're in a face-to-face workshop. And then you have digital wireframing. That one is quite a little bit different because you get some sort of kits and ready to use, I would say components, but they're not really components in a design system sense. And you put together your wireframe digitally. So you have Miro, Figma, Confluence whiteboard. This is a new thing as of the time where this class is being made, and Balsamiq. Balsamiq is a very famous tool to do that. So I'll show you a few of these just so you can see what it can do, but I will be working on Miro mainly, and I will show you in Figma how you can leverage that. So let's take a look at paper wireframing. I haven't really done one for this course, but I've done a lot in the past. And you can see that it can go from very beautiful and colorful wireframes like this one to something that's more basic. And you can see that you're really not worrying about the contents of that wireframe. You're worrying more about the structure, what will go here, what's the main functionality, but you're not really diving too deep into it. You can see here is another example. So this is also a paper wireframe, but this is for a mobile view. You can definitely find some frames like this. This is a tablet frame. This is a mobile frame. You can find them and print them and then work on them. So you can just Google frames. I know that SAP has some sort of UI kit that you can leverage. Let me show you actually how you can do that. So if I were to do SAP house, wireframing kit, I know that they had something. I think it's called SAP scenes. So yeah, exactly. So they do have, so you can see there are these little, this is the storyboard kit, but you can also see these frames that you can download for free. So I guess you can just download them. See, there is a PowerPoint version of this. So you can get those frames definitely. Maybe you will find them under this, but basically it's those little frames. You see this one? This is like a tablet, and then you can print it and work on it. Paper wireframing works best. It's actually even much like cheaper and much easier to work with. All right. Okay, so we've gone through all of these types. So now I'm going to show you how to do it on Miro. So this is my project space. So you can see I have the persona. This is my persona. Mainly, it's a persona that I've put together. Remember, the challenge was to help retain and grow women at a company. I made this a challenge that's very broad and people-oriented to see the power of design thinking, but also to see that UX design could apply to many settings. So this is my persona, Jen, and I have the goals, the responsibilities, the problems she faces, but most importantly, my team, because this was a team effort, um, actually voted for this particular need. So this is very important for you because as a UX designer, you're not going to work by yourself in a vacuum. You are going to collaborate with people. So you need to involve them in your process. And you can see here that she has a lot of stars. This is a lot of like what my team voted for, but we went with this one that Jen is looking for a trusted peer support group and a mentorship mechanism to get a mentor as well to channel her concerns related to bias or other things that really make her not have a good experience in the company where she works for, ABC company in our case study. And if she's able to overcome these challenges, that she's likely to have a better experience within that company, and then she's going to grow and stay in that company. Because the company's goal is what? What is the business goal here? The business goal is to retain and grow women, because when you retain a human resource in a business, then you're making more money than going and looking up for a new person that you need to onboard and bring up to speed. So retention is a very important business challenge. And this is the challenge you always need to ask yourself, what is the business challenge that I'm solving for? Because UX designers need to be business savvy. Because if you know how to change the experience of the user, you can also serve the user, but also serve the business. And you can see these apps like, for example, if you're in the US, DoorDash or Uber Eats or Careem, if you're in the UAE, all of these apps, they are designed in a way to make you maybe buy more or they upsell you for a service. So design really comes in as a business driver. So don't think of it as something that is independent. It's actually the most important part that drives business in a very digital world, let's say, in particular. So you can see I worked on this, my team worked on this storyboard about Jen. So I will not dive into it, but you can pause because the purpose here is wireframing. But you can see this was the storyboard. We used the kit, the SAP scenes kit. And you can see that Jane was having an imposter syndrome. She was trying to um, talk and express her concerns, but you can see like people she was surrounded with, especially men, um, may not relate in particular to her experience here. So she's trying to look for answers, understand why she's feeling that way, and trying to connect with women in her company to see how she can grow and become more confident. But she's not able to really find a good space there. And so her manager recommends for her to search for a mentor because it would help her connect with other women in the company. Um, and this is where she finds a mentorship program called Mentorship Magic. And this is where she will dive into this world and find a mentor. So the happy ending in the storyboard is that once she uses that solution and experiences finding a mentor, she's able to actually overcome her imposter syndrome. She's able to connect with other people. and she's able to be inspired by other role models in the company. So this is what the solution is trying to achieve, right? Is to make sure that Jane is having a good experience, but it's also serving the business because we want the business to retain Jane so that it's going to be a win-win situation for both sides. So we will start with wireframing. And in Miro, you will see that they have a wireframing kit. So here you see the wireframe library. If you don't see it here, this little X, you have to do the plus and look up wireframe, and you should be able to find it. See? So, and you can pin it. You pin it so it appears here. So I'll go to the wireframing library, and you will see there are so many options, and I will go with the browser. So the first step that I want, excuse me, the first step that I want Jane to achieve here is that she's going to discover the Mentorship Magic app. So let's start with something that's realistic. So this is the actual web page. So my G buddy. So you will see that things are going to be super cheap here. I'm not trying to look for something that's beautiful. I'm trying to think about what is the main thing that I want Jane to do here. So I will go and take this shape. I will do like this. I will pick a color. Let's see. The color that I will pick will be this one. I'll go with this. This is going to be obviously we'll pick a color that speaks to you don't even need to do colors, by the way, here, but it's just for me to show you that you can do cheap, but also not that cheap. So I worked on a little logo, so I will just drag and drop it here. You can always do Control Z and drag and drop your logo. I called my app mygbuddy.com. So the company's name starts with G, so we created this GBuddy, and then I will welcome Jane. So I'll just put it here, and then I will take a text and then write welcome to my GBuddy, and I'll make this in white for accessibility purposes. So maybe we'll do it in black. And then once she accesses the app, we have a little message here. We're just making things super minimalist here. Find your buddy. Obviously, it will work for companies that already have a navigation and things like that. So it might look different. Let's find your buddy. Then that's it. And then I will drop a button. We'll have to find a button here. Maybe I will look at this color, and then I'll just click here to start. And then, not sure why it doesn't show, but we can just do something like this. We can find an arrow. Let's find this arrow and make it, yes, so it's worked. So we can make this easier arrow. Just going to make it thicker. You can see how I'm working on the arrow and make it white. And then I will move it. And that is representing my arrow. Oops. So I'll just do this. So it doesn't have to be perfect, So click here to start. Maybe I'll do this. And then I have my button. Okay, so again, it doesn't have to be Perfect. So this is my landing page. So you can see that you can use these like buttons, you have the radios, you have the different types of things that you can build. And now I will show you my final results. So you can see this is my G body. So I started with this, then I worked on the body profile information. So what can she like join? And I have this like drop down. That's again something I took from the wireframe library, and I have some colors here and there. I took this from the SAP scenes characters, but you can have a real life picture. You can see this is like all these icons, by the way, I think you can find them. There is another app called Icons, Images and Icons. See it? So it's this one. And I can always find the icon. So this calendar icon, I found it from here. And I just dropped it. So you have to be a little bit creative. So now you can see this is all of um, my application with all of its potential, filters and details. And I use this as like a rectangle that I brought from here. So the search results. So she's searching for a body. She created her own account. So this is the meetup. So it's a message she gets to schedule a mentoring time. She schedules the event. She finds a place, and then she's able to have a visit. And then we have a message in here. So this is a wireframing that works really well on Miro. So then we'll dive into other types of another way of doing it on Figma.